Some ulama, they discuss the point, is it permissible to take pills that will delay the onset of the period to complete the month? Many ulama said you can do it. Then there is a woman who is in nifas. Her condition is like the condition of haid, that after nifas she has to compensate. Now, after the haid, the woman has to do qada. Now, whatever days she missed, she must compensate. And the compensation, the ulama argued. Some of them said, they differed. Some of them said it must be done very quickly, before the next Ramadan. If she didn't do it, or he didn't do it before the next Ramadan, he has to do qada and kafara. But there is no dalil for that. Nah? Because Allah said, فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. He didn't say when, how. So they can do it. It's better to do it before the next Ramadan because it won't pile up and it will be difficult for them to do it. So we mentioned haid, nifas, tuhur. And the third one is hubla, woman who is pregnant. Nah? So depends, of course, which stage. Beginning of pregnancy sometimes it can be depending on the woman. Some women find it easy to fast, some women find it difficult. If she finds it difficult, she of course can break her fast. And sometimes she must break her fast. Because it may affect the janeen, the fetus, and that of course is not permissible to do that. So therefore, and this issue again, Ikhwan, is a different opinion what she should do. Some said she shouldn't do anything. Because they use the hadith of Anas bin Malik al-Ka'bi, not the other Anas bin Malik. There is another Anas bin Malik. And some said she must do qada. And some said she must do qada and kafara. Kafara, feeding a poor person for every day she missed. And it looks like she should do qada. Now she should do qada the same way as a breastfeeding woman. Breastfeeding woman, because she didn't just break it on her own accord, but she broke it because of herself and normally because of the child, the breastfeeding child. Now, so those are the ones I can remember. Brother there.
Same question.
Same question?
Yeah.
Answered?
You gave the answer.
Alhamdulillah.
This was the issue of, like you mentioned before, the people with kidney problems where they have to drink water.
No.
Now, from talking to some of the brothers, they sometimes say that some people would just only drink, for example, and not eat during the day. Not obviously considering it as fasting, but to make it as close to fasting as possible. So they'll only drink, or if he has to take a pill, for example, he'll only take the pill and not eat or drink anything else. Is that what's the opinion of ulama on that?
I mean, that's not fasting. I don't think anyone says that's fasting.
Of course.
If he drinks and doesn't eat, it's not considered fasting. But if he wants, for example, to feel like they say the spirit of Ramadan, not to eat and to break fast with all the brothers and eat with them and things, yes, but he's not considered to be fasting. So therefore, but there is an issue of, for example, some injections and some pills and some even inhalers. Now, for example, people who have asthma. Many ulama, they said the inhaler doesn't break the fast. Because what breaks the fast is akl shurb wa ma fi ma'nahuma. Which means that food, drink, or what is like food and drink. And this is not for that, it's for the lungs. It doesn't reach the stomach. Now, for example, there are injections that are like the drip, for example. That feeds the blood, that feeds the body. Now, it's like food and drink. So if you do that, you break your fast. There are tablets. Even this ulama, they spoke about ilk. Yeah, chewing gum. Some of you may be shocked. Many of them consider chewing gum doesn't break fast. But they said don't chew in front of people. Because they might chew you. If you chew in front of them, your health is in danger. No? Because they said you don't swallow. Of course, if you swallow, that's different. No? Like tasting the food. No? Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, you can taste the food on the tongue. Like some, especially for the women or for a person who is a cook maybe or a chef. Now, he may taste the food, but not swallow it. Because as soon as he swallows, if he swallows it forgetfully, that's okay. He can swallow as much as he wants, if it's forgetfully. You can do anything if it's forgetful. Oh, eating, drinking, you forgot. But as soon as you remember, you must stop eating and drinking. And also that doesn't mean that if someone sees you eating and drinking and you forgot, you should just sit there. MashaAllah, he forgot, man. He should remind you. Brother, it's fasting. Oh, subhanAllah. Because sometimes it happens. You sit with someone, you used to eating before Ramadan and you start eating. You start drinking or something and then you remember. And because we have the hadith, that if that happens, there is nothing. But you should stop when you remember. And of course the issue of hijama, because hijama not many of us do, but what we do sometimes is blood transfusion or donation or whatever, donor, the person who donates blood. And it's a long issue, ikhwan. And many ulama, because we have hadith that say after us al-hajim wal-mahjum, that the hajim who does hijama he breaks his fast, and the person who is done hijama too breaks his fast. And we have another hadith that says ihtajama Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He did hijama and he was fasting. So in those cases, it's very important for us to look for the athar of the Sahaba. Radiallahu anhum. That's why we have Abdul Razak al-San'ani rahimahullah. He collected what he called al-Musannaf, where he collected mostly the athar of the Sahaba. And we have Ibn Abi Shaybah rahimahullah, who collected al-Musannaf. And now we have some ulama, some mashayikh, who did authentic. They took some hadith or some athar, some narrations from the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, and did the authentication. So we find in that issue, we find all of the Sahaba doing hijama, almost all. And they only dislike hijama, cupping, for someone who fears to get weak. Because what does it mean, cupping? I advise you, if you have any brothers who can do hijama, to do hijama. Because it's very beneficial for your health. It means that there are points on your body, on your leg, on your head, but only should be done by someone who is qualified. Otherwise you won't remember your name. If someone who doesn't know does it to you, it's true. You'll have amnesia, you'll have some problems. So it's a person who knows how to do it should do it. But if someone who knows it does it, it's one of the best things you can do to your body. Because it gets rid of all the bad blood. And maybe because you get rid of all the bad blood, you will reconcile with your brothers. There's no bad blood between you. Both of you did hijama. So, but they disliked it for someone who, because of hijama, he becomes weak. And he can't carry on with his fasting. So, in those issues, it's very important for us to look at the understanding of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. So we find that most of them, if not all, they used to do hijama. You can examine, you can go to the two musannaf, you can analyze them, those under the chapters of hijama. You can analyze those athar. And you'll find that most of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they used to do hijama, but only they don't do if they fear they will get weak. Because sometimes, especially towards the end of Ramadan, sometimes you feel you're a bit weaker than at the beginning. In that case, the person should avoid that. So therefore, as a consequence of that, even though this issue, has been debated, very, very long pages in the ulama, in the books of the ulama, rahimahumullah, as a consequence of that, if you give blood, then it is okay to carry on fasting, and you don't have to do qada. Allah.
Can you elaborate on how we as Muslims should behave during Ramadan in terms of our character? Because sometimes we find that there's no difference in brothers when they're fasting, in terms of their bad behavior, for example.